All right, if you're in tech, I'm sure you've heard the term T-shaped professional about a million times. For years, it's been the gold standard, right? But here's the thing. Right now, with the massive pressure from AI and automation, that standard isn't just bending anymore, it's being completely reforged. Seriously, what it means to be a top-tier tech pro is changing, and it is changing fast. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll quickly touch on the classic model we all know. Then, we'll look at how AI is shaking everything up. We'll explore how the T itself is evolving, define what this new T-shaped 2.0 really is, and wrap up with a practical, four-step action plan you can use. Okay, first things first. Let's just quickly get on the same page with the model that has pretty much defined tech careers for a generation. It's the foundation for everything else we're about to talk about. For a long, long time, this was the ideal. The top part, the horizontal bar, that was your broad knowledge. You knew a little about databases, a little about front end, a little about testing. And then the vertical bar, the stem of the T, that was your superpower. That was your deep specialized skill in, say, a specific language, like Java, or a framework like React. Simple, right? Know a little about a lot and a whole lot about one thing. But a massive new force is coming in and putting this entire model under some serious pressure. And that force, of course, is AI. It's making a career strategy built on just one deep tool-based skill look, well, surprisingly fragile. And this really gets to the heart of it, the crucial question we all have to ask. If your deep work was defined by knowing all the ins and outs of a specific framework, what happens when a machine can do all that routine stuff for you almost instantly? I mean, just look at what generative AI is getting incredibly good at. It's chewing through all those repeatable, tool-specific tasks that used to be the bedrock of a specialist's day-to-day. Writing standard CRUD operations, setting up basic UI components, generating boilerplate code. All of this is getting automated. So what's the result of all this pressure? Well, the T isn't just going away. Not at all. Its very shape and meaning are being forced to evolve. It's adapting by going deeper, but in a totally new way, and at the same time getting much, much wider. And here is the first major shift. The vertical bar of the T, your deep expertise, it's moving. It's shifting away from knowing a specific tool or a framework. Instead, it's becoming all about mastering a whole class of complex problems. Let me make this real for you. It's not enough to just be a React developer anymore. The real value is in being an engineer of complex interfaces, someone who gets accessibility, performance, and design systems. You're not just a Spring backend dev, you're an engineer of high-load, reliable systems. It's a shift from the tool you use to the complex problem you solve. Now, at the exact same time that the vertical bar is changing, the top of the T is expanding. That required breadth of knowledge. It's not just about knowing a little front end and a little back end anymore. It's getting significantly thicker. A modern engineer is really expected to have a solid functional understanding across the whole system. You've got to speak the language of the cloud, of CI/CD pipelines, and this is a huge one. You need to think like a product manager to understand how your code actually connects to business goals. You basically become the connective tissue for the whole team. Okay, so let's put all these pieces together and see how this builds a brand new, much more robust model for what an ideal tech professional looks like today. Because believe me, this is what the best companies are starting to hunt for. So welcome to the T-Shape 2.0. This is a pro with that thick, strong horizontal foundation we just talked about, but now maybe with one or even two deep verticals. And the most critical part is that those verticals are all about solving complex types of problems, which makes you so much less vulnerable to automation. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? How do you build yourself into this new shape? Let's break it down into a practical four-step plan to really start future-proofing your career starting today. This four-step framework is really your guide. It's all about consciously building out your breadth and your depth, integrating new tools, and maybe most importantly, adopting a mindset that you're always evolving. So step one, thicken your horizontal bar. This means you got to get comfortable reading and maybe making small edits in other parts of the stack. Understand the basics of how your app gets deployed and monitored. And seriously, learn to talk the language of business value with your product team. Step two is about strategically choosing where you're going to go deep. And remember, this isn't about just learning the latest hot framework.
It's about studying the timeless principles, the architectural patterns, and the common pitfalls in a really complex area like distributed systems or platform engineering. Step 3, and this is a big one, master AI as a core tool. This is way more than just accepting autocomplete. It's about developing the skill to write great prompts, to critically verify the output, and to weave AI into your daily workflow for things like research, refactoring, and documentation. Treat it like a powerful apprentice that you need to manage.
And finally, step 4. This might be the biggest mindset shift of all. You have to build the habit of evolution. You have to see your current deep specialty not as your permanent identity, but as your focus for the next 3 to 5 years. You should always be actively thinking about what adjacent areas you might move into next.
Ultimately, AI isn't replacing engineers. What it's really doing is just elevating the game. It's raising the importance of systems thinking, of cross-domain knowledge, and of that fundamental ability to learn and adapt and solve messy problems. The skills that are, for now, uniquely human. So this leaves us with a final thought, a question for you. If career growth is no longer about finding one perfect niche for the rest of your life, but about building a series of them, you have to ask yourself, what is the shape of my T today? And more importantly, what's my next T going to be?